Oh, we are closely watching what happens to a pair of crosses on a hill above Camp Pendleton, California. A chaplain and some Marines put up the first cross in 2003 to honor comrades killed in Iraq and Afghanistan. It was a bonding experience for these guys, dragging it up that steep hill, a memorial that doubled as an accomplishment. Well, little did these guys know that they were posing in front of a memorial to themselves. 3 of them later died fighting for their country. And now there's another battle being fought, a court battle. Is this cross a government endorsement of religion? We're talking about this with retired Navy chaplain Scott Radetzky. The cross was his idea. We're going to talk about the legal issue also with attorney Paul Callan. But Scott, I want to start with you. I look at this picture that you sent me of the Marines surrounding this cross that honors fallen comrades. Now, 3 of those Marines have died. 3 of the Marines in that picture. They had no idea that they would be posing by their own memorial. When you look at this picture now, Scott, what goes through your mind?
Kara, it's a atypical memorial. It's not something that you'd see in a Central Park or even a faith-based community. It's something that was established by Marines themselves. That's visited. It's not for the faint at heart. It's difficult to get up to the top of that hill. 1,700 feet, sometimes angle of 45 degrees or more to climb up there. It's very heart-wrenching at times, but it's also fulfilling knowing that they were able to leave something behind.
What does this memorial mean to you and fellow Marines?
Attending a class, Dr. Kenneth Pargament wrote a book, Integrating Spirituality into Psychotherapy, and the importance of recognizing the sacred, and that sacred being integrated with morality and the importance of holding that. I guess what it means to me, it's whether fact or fable, whether invoking frustration or faith. For me, it invokes the faith and the hope and the love that we have for one another. It was a bonding experience just getting it up there. I was new to the unit. I wanted to bond with them. We had 2 corpsmen, we had 2 lance corporals, 2 company commanders, and myself. A new chaplain assigned to the unit, trying to make my way into it, right before we deployed to Fallujah, Iraq.
Wow. All right, so now it's being challenged in court. How does that make you feel?
I don't want to draw lines in the sand or rattle sabers. I mean, if that could be set aside and looked at it in love and what it represents, that it's not a projection of a state religion or let's not battle over that. Let's remember those that carried it and the rocks, the memories, what it means to those there at Camp Horno.
Paul, let me bring you in now. There are 2 organizations that I found that are challenging the legalities of this cross. And one of the organizations had this to say: an unauthorized religious shrine sits on federal land. It's stood for years, showing clearly that Christianity is given preference by Camp Pendleton officials and a long line of Marine commanders and leaders who have knowingly allowed this shrine to stand and who have even used it as a focus for command-sponsored prayer and Christian pilgrimage. Do they have a valid point, Paul?
I think in a court suit here, they're going to lose in the end, Kira. I'm in favor of the Marine Memorial, as we might want to refer to it, in its current configuration. I'll tell you why. I think that if there had been Muslim soldiers who died or Jewish soldiers who died and they climbed that 1,600-foot hill and put symbols on the top of the hill, that wouldn't constitute the U.S. government respecting the establishment of a religion, as the First Amendment says. That's what the First Amendment prohibits. The very location of this, it's on a military base in an obscure area. It's very difficult to even see the cross from a distance. So I don't think the public is going to say, the Marine Corps is endorsing Christianity here. I think it's a memorial to fallen soldiers, and frankly, there are a lot of other things I understand stand at the top of the hill that get left by soldiers who climb it. Medals or a whiskey bottle or, you know, whatever else they think they want to leave in tribute to their fallen colleagues. So I don't think the court will view it as a religious memorial, but rather as a secular sort of memorial to the fallen.
So the argument can be made that since the cross isn't visible to the public, that it's not an endorsement of religion. You can't see it unless you actually make the effort to go see it.
Yes, and now I will tell you the flip side of this argument is this atheist group that is bringing the lawsuit argues that there are training things that occur at Camp Pendleton that require Marines to march by the memorial. So in that sense, they are forced to view this Christian symbol. And a lot of non-Christians in the United States feel strongly that we shouldn't have any religious symbols on American military bases. So there is a good faith debate about this, but traditionally, you know, it says in God we trust on our currency. The court has kind of leaned in favor of allowing some very, very limited displays of religion as long as it's clear the government's not endorsing a religion. So I think in the end this display would be upheld by the courts. If the cross got too big, maybe the courts would say a smaller display might be appropriate, but I think in the end it won't be taken down.
Well, we're going to follow it. And Scott, Paul thinks that this is going to go away and that cross will remain. And we just thank you for your service to our military and all the men and women, of course, who have lost their lives. We appreciate the time with you and also you, Paul. Thanks, guys.